Okay, if I ask you to hire me for a contract, I have to be able to show, I have to be able to demonstrate that I have a competency in performing the task of that contract. Okay, if you give me a contract to build the house, I have to be able to show that I know how to read the blueprints. I know how to make a blueprints would be better if I can go in and draw the blueprints for that home to be constructed. The foundation, I understand tolerances of loads and the roofing, the rafters. I know all my math, my Pythagoreans, so I can get my angles right on my rafters, right? You know, I got all my safety procedures understood. I know all that so that I can bring forth this contract. So if you got a contract for Black America, you have to be able to say, hey, I did this with my hundreds of millions of dollars because I'm all about the Benjamins. So this is what I've been able to accomplish, being all about the Benjamins here. This is what I was able to accomplish. And so I've contributed these plans to Trump based off of the data that we've accomplished, and this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna accomplish with the birds. So that's what I have to be able to explain with my contract to Black America, that I've accomplished this with the institutions that I've built, from my tens of millions of dollars, my hundreds of millions of dollars of influence, billions of dollars of influence that I have, so that I can immediately get a interview on CNN with the governor of New York's brother. You know, that type of clout, you know, I can leverage, you know, like the Mungu Umeme in the Shire. He's leveraging a little metro job to Uganda to start institutions with his wives, while the other wife is in the other part of Uganda with her team, you know, with measurable results that we can speak about towards who we're mentoring. So, you know, I would have the same expectation for Brother Cube. Call it personal, but, you know, that's what I would want. And then I would wonder why this contract wasn't proposed to Barack Obama, to W. Why wasn't it proposed to John Kerry, John McCain, Mitt Romney? You know, why wasn't it proposed when Black voters were disenfranchised down in Florida during the 2000 campaign? Why all of a sudden now? Because, you know, I was joining the Navy in '99 during that time. So, you know, like I said, I hate to make it personal, but I mean, these reactionary measures on the 18th, you know, this close to the election, you know, I hate to make it personal, but that's what I think it is. So, you know, what are your measurable agenda for the Black constituency? Okay, with Trump, like I said, if he get the jobs back, which is a good chance, with the Black leadership that he's selecting, if things crash again as it is now with this pandemic, what are we going to do? You need someone who has strategy regardless of who's in office, who has strategy that's not dependent on the person who's in office. The strategy is dependent on our will, and you have to have strategy to develop that will, so that then if you're not given what the politicians say they're going to give you, you can hold them accountable. If you don't have a means of accountability, then your contract, it's of no use. It's of no use. And so I've been writing some of my concerns about the liabilities of the Trump administration, and so I'm proposing that, you know, he has to select a coalition of grassroots entities who aren't just operating on nonprofit, who has a vested interest in developing from scratch. You know, that's what he has to select, not these nothing groups who don't have any agenda. You know, like I said, Cube was just rapping with the gang earlier this year about date rape, and the gang was all in the joint, you know, rapping about date rape. So, you know, you have all these people throughout a lot of these posts, and, you know, they bring up the deep state, the pedophile rings and all these other things of the Democrats. Okay, you're bringing up all these things, but these guys have the same alignments in their music. They're not challenging it with every ounce of their fiber, with every fiber of their being. So if they're not challenging it, I mean, it's complicit. You're being complicit if you're not challenging it. They'll do a song with someone. So if we're not going to hold that same standard to these artists and their craft, we're going to say, oh, that's just entertainment when they rap about death and destruction. But we hold the other ones accountable about their infidelities or the Andrew Gilliam situation. You bring up their sexuality, you feel me? But the content that these guys sit down and write to brainwash people, to kill each other. He got the warlord. So you're saying that you don't have any means of influencing the politician after the vote is made, but you got on your clothing that you're a warlord. So you should have some type of influence with that, of accountability. If not, then yeah, you're working for them. If you say you don't work for Trump, you work for Trump if you're just being a part of what he presents and you don't have any means of accountability if he don't bring it to fruition. Okay? So you guys just continue to be about the Benjamins. Be about the Benjamins. Don't distract from self-determined interests. Just be about the Benjamins. You guys wasn't about revolting. You were about getting more money. And you know what the problem is when you get more money? Having to deal with politics. Because you wasn't interested in. That's just another problem you feel as though you have to deal with. But you didn't want to deal with it. You would want to avoid it. And that's what your music reflected. It wasn't dealing with the problem of politics from when did No Money, No Problems come out? More money, more problems. 90, 94, 95. No one was political all this time until 2020. Now everyone's political because you all knew since Trials and Tribulations of 2004 when I was in Tidewater with the Norfolk and Virginia Beach and all of the other generals from around the country and from worldwide, because that's a big naval base and everybody was convening towards Free Life Records. What Dr. Carson say? Oh, he was trying to sneak this. Oh, if you're a consensus, they'll come to you. Oh, they are. And you guys know they are. And you have channels in place to try to undermine that and deter it and try to prevent it from reaching the fruition. You a mock it. They cut you out, family, because they want to interrupt this presentation. They want to interrupt this presentation. It's clarity through the clouds and rain. I'm gonna bring clarity in barbershop. Barbershop didn't bring you no clarity through the rain. He just can't hear the prophet and try to make you think he cared about the shy. He didn't. He ain't got no agenda too. If he cared about the shy, he'd have an agenda for it. If you coming in on the South Shore down the street from where Obama and them got married. All these alignments is either for refinement or distraction in the shy. It's either for refinement and self-determination, or it's for distraction. You know, Brother T. West says he has a problem with the term white supremacy. But the only thing you guys are spewing is fear. Oh, we need to fear the Mexicans coming. You know, we need to fear them coming in. I've had a lot of tribulations with the Mexican community. Been attacked, shot at, had my car rammed. I was in the group home. Assaulted there, tried to run me off the road as a 10, 12, 13-year-old. So, you know, I can understand those types of arguments, but it still falls on us and our family. Okay? If we get these jobs, what are we going to do with them? Okay? How are we going to survive if we elect Trump again? The lack of leadership that he has in place when they hit him with the next hoax. How you gonna survive that? The people that he has in place don't have any strategy for that. Cube told you he don't have any strategy but the hopes that Trump does his plan. Trump not when I say Trump does his plan, it's not Trump doing Cube's plan. It's Trump's doing Trump plan and hope that Cube can get some credit for it. And that's what he was asking for Biden. Hey, I ain't got no plan, guys, but just say that I'm with your plan, and then that'll take the distraction from the black people who y'all don't want them to focus on. Just say I'm part of the plan. And that's what he's doing, because he don't have any plan. And he admit that to you. P. Diddy, he don't have any plan. Oh, he's gonna divide us. Divide what? As T. West said, we already, who's unified? Who's unified? So, you haven't been unified, in the shot. So in conclusion, what we're asking, we're gonna be canvassing from October 27th to the 31st, canvassing with ciphers, try to include some other activities. And what we're gonna be petitioning are the candidates, Trump and Biden. Gonna be petitioning for our votes. And if we get a pledge towards key issues, then they get the vote. If not, the other person gets the vote. And we're expressing the reason of how we're going to navigate whichever candidate we select. And so even if none of them gives it attention, what we'll do is place those votes towards a particular candidate and then continue to hold them accountable during their administration. Okay? That's how that's being politically astute. That's not being defeated. That's not putting your destiny towards what their intention would be. That's taking ownership. That's having affirmations and control. That's being empowered. Okay? But saying, okay, once we place the vote in, it's up to the politician to decide if they're going to implement it or not. No, that's defeated. And that's what these guys are telling you. They're telling you, if you don't vote for who they're saying you're going to vote for, that they have a bunch of fear campaigns for that. If you don't vote for who they say to vote for, and then they tell you, oh yeah, but once you vote for them, we can't promise that they're going to do what they're going to do. Like the elder T. West, he focuses on the timeline. You have to take accountability for Barack Obama, because you're placing criticism towards people like P. Diddy for not having an agenda during this Trump administration, or during Obama when he was saying the Libya situation. They ain't had nothing to say then, but you put Barack to do that. I didn't vote for Barack, and I told you from the get-go, I had a bunch of criticism during the entirety of his first administration and much of his second administration. And then I said, I'm going to get off of complaining about him and focus on initiatives, even though I've still always focused on initiatives, but, gets completely put complaints towards him to the wayside. Okay. So, as far as my standing, I was correct on that with Barack. If we're assessing who's correct with things coming to pass with this pandemic, Africa Time News, International Black Forum, Free Life Records, been the most astute, been the most accurate on directions that should have been taken that would have avoided a lot of chaos by the presidency, as far as not allowing these Democrat controlled cities with mostly black populations to shut down. I'd have took every military means possible to prevent that, because now you can't guarantee that you can maintain stability. You can't ensure that, because you have chaos. Especially as far as where black people's concerned, you can't ensure that. I don't care about the Republican states as far as the collective black people is concerned. All the chaos is in black people's cities. So that's how you have to assess it. He wasn't able to assure that, and he wasn't able to ensure our job, that we'll be able to keep our jobs. And then once the chaos occurs, we're made the face of the chaos. So if you're saying vote for Trump, you have to be able to have means, or been prescribing means up until this point, that will prevent us being targeted when the chaos occurs. I've been able to do that as a surface warfare, air warfare sailor. All my advice been towards that. It would prevent that. Just my daily living too as well. Just my daily living as far as my diet and working out would have had you prepared for all this. Period. if you want to talk about living by example or things coming to pass, you wouldn't have been more better prepared during this state of tragedy. Because I've been winning during it. My only frustration has been for the collective, but as far as winning with me, I've been winning all the battles that's been up in that I have as a trial listed. I've been winning. Okay, health-wise, fiscally, investments, Pan Africanism, establishing institutions, my love life. You feel me? So I feel as though the International Black Forum, the African Times News, Free Life Records, Due Diligence Investments has the best base for us to petition for these demands from the prospective parties. That's unique. That's unique, unlike anyone else has proposed, and everyone else has defeated political. They have defeated political discourse. Jesse Jackson Jr. just sent a shout out on my reflections on John Brown because he knows the depth of it. Okay, and I came at him aggressively, just calling his reflections weak. I'm in South Shore right now. The district of Jesse Jackson Jr. He's not gonna he's gonna review someone before he endorses them like the way he just did me yesterday, and ensure that they're not someone who's wasting his presence after he just spent his time being attacked. You feel me? In the shot.